Hi folks, hope you're doing good today. Now I did say that I would end up doing a kind of bi-weekly or even a weekly roundup, and I haven't got round to that. I've just been getting through the bands, but I'm going to do one today. This is a kind of bi-ish weekly roundup because I think it's been about 3 weeks since we last did one. But I just want to talk about some bands, remind you of the bands that I think you should watch on the channel, or just ones that caught my ear that's had something a bit different to them. You know what it's like. So yeah, if you didn't catch these bands in the last few weeks, just going to give you a bit of a heads up to go and check them out. That's what it's all about, really. The first band I'll get up on the screen is our friends in Chugger. The first band to have 3 videos on the channel, and hopefully not the last, but they've had 3 very high quality kind of continuation videos of a bit of a theme going on, of you know, slashers and all stuff like that. We had stuff in the woods, we had people getting their eyes poked out, and in this video it's pretty much kind of a live autopsy and things like that. Super gory, super high quality as well. They've spent some money on these videos, I can tell you that. They don't come for free. So we'll just have a bit of a look at this just to remember what the gore and everything is like. And the music's very, very chunky and chuggery. Very good name to go with the music. So let's just have a quick listen to these guys. Super chunky guitars in this band. Everything's good in the mix, so. And as you can see, super gory video. Oh. They like to take, you know, they like to give you all the super cringe moments, poking out your eye, drills up the nose, clipping off your fingers. Yeah, these guys, they know how to make your toes curl and then clip them off for you. Now, the next band I'm going to mention is a band that's not really in my wheelhouse. This isn't stuff that I would normally listen to on the regular, but that's why I'm doing this kind of thing, to get exposed to bands that I wouldn't normally listen to necessarily, or just come across in my daily viewing. And I'm glad for it, because I come across bands like this. Now, this isn't a band that I would normally get into, but I like this track, and I like the chorus in this track particularly. Just when I heard it, it just sat nicely with me. I like the guy's voice. I like the way that the riff kind of goes down. So yeah, this was just a good chorus, I thought. Pretty cool video as well. So yeah, if this is your kind of thing, this is really good. But I particularly like the chorus, so we'll just play a bit of the chorus. Great guitar tone. Like the ride. I like the way the melody of the vocal goes down. Background vocal's good as well. Yeah, cool. The track's called Crumbles to Clay, and the way that it ends on that line there in the chorus, that's a well-written chorus in my opinion. Good job, nice guitar tone, real beefy guitar tone on this one as well. So yeah, they're competing with Chugger for one of the beefiest guitar tones, I'd say. Very, very nice. Now the next band that I'm going to mention is, I did a video on UK bands, UK hardcore, some old bands, some new bands, and this was a band that I wish I'd got into back in the day. Back in the late 90s, early 2000s, I was doing loads of gigs, going around all the local gigs, playing local gigs in hardcore bands, and there was a really, really good UK scene at that time, and I knew loads of underground bands because I used to go to all the underground gigs and see all the bands on the circuit, but this band never crossed my path, and that's Across the Bear, because unfortunately this band would have probably been one of my favourite bands had I heard them at the time, because they're right up my alley. They're still right up my alley to this day, and this thing I think came out in about 2006, and if I'd heard it then, you know, I'd have burnt the CD out playing it on repeat pretty much. When I met the drummer in this band, he's a fan of the channel and stuff like that, and he mentioned one of the older UK bands that I'd never heard the name of, and we ended up getting chatting, and now it turns out that we're pretty much the same person, leading our lives in different areas of the world, but you know, we're into all the same bands, and even spookily down to like we've got the same keyboard and all things like that. So yeah, me and this guy, we got a lot in common. But anyway, one thing we got in common is we really like his band that he's in. There was a drummer in this band. I also know the singer and stuff now. So we'll just listen to a bit of this UK mathcore hardcore from about 2006, and it still sounds dope today. Love this high energy math. Screamy vocal, high energy, crazy drums, crazy guitar riffs. Yeah, that's what I'm all about. UK band as well, which, you know, being from the UK just hits home even nicer. So yeah, shame I didn't get into this band back in the day. That is a regret, but no regrets that I'm into them now. So that was very cool. And one thing I will mention is off the back of the video that I did for this, and listening to these hardcore bands, I got really inspired to do my own music, because I've always wanted to do kind of crazy, chaotic mathcore music, but never really known the right approach to get those ideas down, because it's very hard to get the crazy guitar riff down and then a crazy drum beat down. Kind of doing them, trying to think of both parts at the same time. So I've been trying to think of a way to do that, and I did actually find a way that I'm pretty happy with now. And what that involved is improvising crazy guitar parts, recording that down, and then matching the drums to that, so that even if you're not perfectly in time, not perfectly in a time signature, because you've matched the drums to the guitar exactly, it can sound in time and it can sound tight still, even with just with a bit of swing, because you've matched it so closely to the waveform. If you've been following the channel, you've checked out my posts, you'll see that I've been doing loads of music at the moment. And what this band is one of the reasons I've been doing that, because they just inspired me so hard. I just love this music. Anyway, we'll move on to the next three bands, and these next three bands all appeared in the same video. And this was probably one of the best days that we've had on the channel. It was a bit of a different day because all three bands were different, and I am trying to group all them a bit more together now. But this was one of the times that it worked out very nicely, where we had three different bands, but they were all super nice and all had something really nice to offer. Now I'll get to the first band that were on this video, and this was a band called BOK, and their track was called Let You Down. This was a very emotional post-hardcore, almost emo kind of track. Very well recorded, great guitar tone, great tones in the whole thing, because the whole thing was just well recorded. But the thing I like particularly that they did in this band is they had a nice pause in the music, kind of a drop pause, and it just worked very well in the music. And every time that it came round, it worked. It gave you that drop, and it didn't feel forced, and it just really went nicely with the music. So we'll see if we can get to that point in this part, and just have a nice bit of a listen to this. Great guitar tone. There we go. Very nice. Works every time. Yeah, these guys have got a good sound. I really like the guitar tone. Atmospheric, reverby, the drums sound good. And that drop just works nicely. Feels good. It's a nice dimension to the song. So that was the first track on this video, and that was a good start to the day. And then we moved on to Kozen, and this one caught me off guard because I've not really heard much like this before. I've heard parts that sound like this and parts that sound like that, but I haven't heard it all in the one band. And these guys get going straight out the gate with a nice bit of bass frilling and things like that, and you think, hang on, what's going on here? And then it goes genty, and then it goes funky, and then it goes poppy, and then it goes kind of progressive metal, and then right at the end they give you some blast beats and death metal. So this band, they've thrown everything and the kitchen sink into the mix, but it's all come out very nicely. All the ingredients came together in the oven, and they baked a nice cake with this one. So I'm not going to play the whole track, although you do need to listen to the whole track to kind of get the whole vibe of this, but we'll just kick it right off because, as I say, it starts off with a nice bit of bass and you go, well, what's going on here? So let's listen to a bit of Kozen. This one's called To the Wind. Yeah.
Throw it away to the wind and start again.
And you're like, oh, hang on. This is like almost genty. So you got that modern tone, heavy. Then you're like, hang on a minute. This is a bit more of a pop edge. And then they break it down in a whole bunch of other ways as well. So yeah. Go and check out this video, just so that you can say that you've seen it, really, because I doubt you'll have seen anything like it before. Kozen, very, very interesting band. I want to hear more out of these guys because, you know, I want to hear more of their sound and see what they've got to offer. They probably throw a bunch of other stuff in there as well, I'm sure. Now, the last band on this video that we put out, and as I say, this was probably one of the best vids I've put out, and this is why I'm just putting all the bands who were on this video on here. So definitely, if you missed this video, head back and check this one out. Now, this last one on this day was Pillars of Autumn. Now, these guys are a tech death band, and a very, very high level tech death band. Again, they hit us with a bass drill straight out of the gates, and you're like, what's going on? Because that's pretty unusual. And then it's relentless tech death, sick vocals, sick guitar, sick drums, sick bass. Everything's sick in these kind of bands because they're just such high level musicians. They're almost showing off because, you know, it's that good, it's that tech. They try and write all the riffs that are hard to play and the solos, all the sweeps and the taps and all the stuff. But that's why it's called tech death, you know, because it's technical. And the whole point of it is to be hard to play, but still sound good. And that's what this band did. They had super technical music, stuff that blows your mind how good it is, but it still sounded good in the mix, and it didn't just sound like they were showing off and it lost all its musicality. So we'll just play a bit of this. As I say, it gets going straight away with the bass, so keep your ears peeled. I'll turn it up loud for the start. So here we go with a bit of Pillars of Autumn, Grandeur and Virtue Part 2. Harsh and nasty. Yeah. Crazy vocal sound. Super thick, crunchy guitars. The drums sound sick. The drummer's crazy good in this band. Yeah. Dope riffage. Yeah. Good synth in here as well to add extra dimension to the music. It doesn't get in the way of the guitars. Yeah, love that. Great. Great band. High quality music. I love a bit of tech death nowadays because these guys, the tech death guys, in my opinion, the ones pushing the envelope the hardest, because they're such high level, high skilled musicians, and the whole vibe of these tech death guys seems to be kind of, especially the guitarists and probably the drummers as well, is to kind of outdo each other with the hardest riff. Who's got the most craziest sweep? Who's got the, you know, the longest finger stretch and arpeggio and all that kind of stuff. And there's a bit of a kind of competition, it feels like, between these guys at the very kind of cutting edge and highest level of ability to outdo each other. And that's good because, you know, it keeps people on their toes and it keeps pushing everyone forward. And that's why, as I say, these guys are the cutting edge, because they're always looking for that next hardest thing. They're always trying to push themselves. The musicians in these kinds of bands, you know, they're serious about their instruments. They're the guys who sat at home and didn't bother going out, and instead they just shredded all day and all night. And, you know, whereas everyone else was out doing other stuff, these guys are sat in their room playing their instrument, just, you know, repeating it over and over again until they get to this level, because otherwise, you know, you don't get to that level without doing with the time and the kind of, you know, the hours to get there, and because of that, these guys, you know, they're always super high level, because that's the vibe, that's where they get their buzz from, making hard, complicated, technical music. All the best to them. You know, I haven't got the ability, unfortunately. I wish I did, but I haven't got the ability. But I'm very pleased that other folks have put in the time and effort to create, to get to the level of ability to be able to create these kind of bands. Sick is all I'm going to say. Now, the last band that I'll get it for today, the most recent band that we've had on the channel of all these bands. Now, I put these guys on the list because I haven't heard bands. I used to listen to bands like this a lot, and I love bands like this. They just hit me right. This is the vibration of my bones. And when I listen to this music, it just feels good to me. I sit in the pocket. I feel the kind of rage in the vocals, the chunky guitars, and the drum beats just, you know, kind of hit home every time for me. So I've put these guys on the list because I haven't heard a band like this in probably about 10 years or something, because I fell out with, well, I didn't fall out with, but I just stopped following hardcore as much as I used to, and as a result, I didn't hear too many more bands like this for a good few years. Now, recently, we've been getting back more into hardcore and following some more hardcore channels. Hardcore Worldwide are a good channel, which is what this video was on. And since then, I've been hearing some more good hardcore bands. And this band I would call pure hardcore, classic hardcore, violent, aggressive hardcore, which is what it's all about, in my opinion. The hardcore side of things is about the aggression, it's about the violence, it's about the release of anger. That's what I used to do on stage in my band when I was doing vocals for these bands. I'm not an angry person, but on stage I was angry, you know. That was the place to release, and these guys release their anger through their music. These guys are called Scarfold, and this one's By Any Means. We'll just play this maybe a minute at the start of the track, because it gets going right out the gate, and if you're a hardcore fan, after 1 second of hearing this, you'll know these guys are the truth. So let's have a listen to Scarfold. Yeah. Yeah, these guys have just got the right sound, the guitar tone, the vocal tone, the drums, the beats, the changes. You just feel them coming, and they feel right. I mean, these guys, as I say, they're classic hardcore. These guys aren't, you know, redefining the genre. They're not super fresh out the box, but that's not the point. You know, these guys are just right. This is what it's meant to sound like. It's the classic sound, and the reason it's classic, and the reason it became classic, is because it sounds fucking dope. And that's all you can say about it, really. So that's all the bands for today. Those are the bands that I'm going to recap. So if you didn't get a chance to catch these bands on the show for whatever reason, head back and have a look at them. All the links for these vids will be in the description. But definitely, if you didn't get a chance to see it, go check out the BOK, Kozen and Pillars of Autumn video, because out of all the videos I've done, that was one of the better ones in my opinion, because the music was just so good. 3 totally different bands, all super high quality. It kind of caught me off guard, pretty much all of them. So yeah, that was a good day. We've had some other good days since then, but that was one of the best, I'd say. So yeah, definitely go and check that video out. But I hope you enjoyed all of these bands for today. They're all very good bands. As I say, that doesn't mean, you know, all the other bands on this list aren't any good. I can't just recap every band that we've been through, unfortunately, else I would. But these are just the bands that stood out to me, or for whatever reason had something in them that just, you know, reminded me when I looked through the videos today as to whether I should re-mention them or not. But if you've been on the channel, if you're watching this and you've been on the channel, I didn't mention you today, chances are I've very much enjoyed your music as well, because there really hasn't been any music on the channel that I haven't enjoyed or hasn't had something to offer the ear that's a bit different or something like that. So very, very good. Enjoying these vids, so we'll do some more. Keep it going. All right, guys, so that's going to be it for today. Have a good Sunday. See you around. Bye.